know somebody who's got big plans to be touring the New York, New Jersey area. That is Derek Carr, who's meeting with the Jets right now this weekend. He already met with the Saints. Now he's a free man. He's been released by the Raiders. He's meeting with the Jets. And if I'm New York, I do not let him out of the building. I know there's the stats. He doesn't play well in cold weather, but come on. You can't wait for Aaron Rodgers to emerge from his darkness retreat. If he ever emerges from that, he might be totally different. Who knows? You're going to wait to see if maybe Baltimore might want to possibly trade Lamar Jackson, which is going to cost you so many draft picks and so much money, along with Rodgers. If you have Derek Carr, who's just going to cost you money, and you're not even sure if Zach Wilson is ever going to be a thing ever again, you've got to just say, Derek, we want you, and we want you bad for 3 years. And we're going to pay you top dollar for the next 3 years. Come and play for the Jets. Lock the door Bronx Tale style and say, now you can't leave.
Oof. I just know, if you're a Jets fan, you got to be like, really?
Do you know what they've been dealing with, those Jets fans, for the last 20 years? It hasn't been gangbusters.
Derek Carr had 24 touchdowns and 14 picks with Devontae Adams on his team last year. What do you think he's going to do in New York? Now, listen, we have a resident Raiders fan. There's just a lack of inspiration with Derek Carr. I think he's a good quarterback, and you do make a good point. I think it's going to be hard to get, especially Lamar. I think that's not going to happen. Maybe they have a shot at Rodgers. Carr, the way I understand what you're saying, Carr is the consolation prize for if you can't get the top notch. But are the Jets going anywhere with Derek Carr? I feel like Robert Saleh will have one more year, and then you're just stuck with this huge contract. He's going to get paid.
But short. So you're not.
Well, why do you know that he's going to do short? Because why wouldn't one of the NFC South teams offer him 5 to 6 years?
Well, first of all, I don't even know 5 to 6. It's probably going to be 3 with like dummy years put onto it. All of this stuff is just like you're playing a shell game here with these contracts. But I'd offer him like solid. Like
I don't think he would take it even if you did.
You don't think he would take $40 million of the Jets' money?
Nope.
I bet he would.
I think he'd say, you know what? I could get that same money in Atlanta or New Orleans or maybe Tampa Bay. And I think he can. Unfortunately, that's the market, and I think he would do that. Okay. Because of who he is, I think he would go to the South for the same money. I don't think the Jets are going to outbid all those other teams. They're as desperate as the Jets are, and they have a bunch of receivers as well. Why not those teams?
Well, but because he's in New York right now. Yeah. Like, he went to New Orleans first because maybe they thought they could work out a trade or whatever that is, or maybe he did it as, I don't know, because he knows Dennis Allen. I have no idea. But he went to New Orleans first. And now the second place he's going is the Jets. We don't know if he's got all of these other weekends lined up. And the teams that you're talking about in terms of like Carolina and...
Yeah, Carolina too.
Basically Carolina.
Definitely Atlanta.
And Atlanta, they're picking high enough in the draft this year that it's not so inconceivable. They would say, hey, we're picking 9. Are we really going to pay Derek Carr this money? Or do we have enough time, leeway, whatever, where it's better for our timeline if I'm the Carolina Panthers, say, you know what, we're drafting a guy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's probably better. We're going to restart. We got Frank Reich here. We got all new things. We got a good defense that can help out a rookie quarterback. Like, the Jets are the team where they've told you 100 times they want a veteran. They're not being cagey about it. They're not doing this weird pre-draft smoke screen thing. They've told you from basically week 17 of last year, we need a veteran. Zach Wilson, go read a book, is literally what they said. Go read a book. That's basically telling you, get out of here. We need a veteran quarterback. I mean, I can't wait around for Rodgers and the what if.
If you're Carr, though, you certainly want to let a market develop, right? I mean, look what happened with Deshaun Watson and his crazy market with all those same teams.
Yeah, you might want to let a market develop, but if I'm the Jets, I'm saying no matter what, come to me last. Like the New York Yankees always do this, so Stu will know, big Yankee fan. The Yankees always say this to free agents. Go out there, see what else is on the market, but do not sign before you talk to us last. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that's what I would say if I were the Jets. Do not sign. Or I try to say, you're not going to leave the building. I'm going to make you an offer that is so competitive, you're not going, or so amazing, you're not going to want to visit anywhere else.
I feel like you pay a premium. I mean, you're stuck with Derek Carr for a long time then. You're stuck with you're all in on Derek Carr, huge dead cap hit. That means you got no other second bite at the apple for a long, long time.
Listen, I'm on the hot seat anyway, so what does it matter? If I'm Joe Douglas, if I'm Robert Saleh, I'm thinking Woody Johnson, who owns the Jets, is just itching to make a coaching change at all times.
let me ask you this. If you're Derek Carr, which team do you want to go to? Say it's the same money.
And who are my teams? New Orleans?
I'll give you the whole NFC South, the Jets, and the Titans.
Now, listen, the NFC South is appealing because I'm in the NFC South.
Yes.
I love the NFC South. I'm making the playoffs in the NFC South.
You either get to play in warm weather or in a dome.
Yeah.
2 domes and one really warm weather and it's Derek Carr. Derek Carr doesn't seem like a New York guy. We've talked about this. He seems like he's a little sensitive.
Gonna be honest, Brett Favre didn't seem like a New York guy, and I know he wasn't here for very long, but like there's nobody who's more Southern and then Green Bay, Wisconsin. None of that equaled New York. And granted, it wasn't awesome when he was here.
He played in warm weather. I mean, he played in cold weather in Green Bay. But regardless, Derek Carr seems like a more natural personality fit for the South, doesn't he?
And he's from California. Weather. I don't know. I mean,
he's going to want to get to that easy division if the money is the same. Look at it. And you're right. Atlanta might draft a guy, but man, they got receivers. Tampa Bay's got receivers. I know the Jets have receivers too.
Yeah, the Jets have the offensive rookie of the year as a receiver.
I don't think that quite competes with the Drake London, Kyle Pitts team. I think they're all
okay. But the Jets also have what's the other great thing they have? Top 5 defense. Something Derek Carr has never been able to experience. The Raiders defense has always been a disappointment.
Carr, he's a quarterback. He wants big numbers. And I'm not sure the Jets. He's also going to look at the AFC and be like, why would I want to be here when I could be in this cakewalk of a division? You know who has the easiest schedule in the league next year?
Who?
Atlanta. You know who has the second easiest? New Orleans. You know who has the 5th hardest? New York Jets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, we've always talked about this. Why would Russell Wilson want to go to the AFC? Why AFC West?
Yeah.
You know, why would Aaron Rodgers want to go to the AFC?
As it turned out, that was accurate analysis.
But it also turns out these guys have egos and feel like they're so good it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure Derek Carr still has that ego.
Believe me, I'm sure he does.
I just think that he would be smarter maybe to not come to this pressure cooker. Because it's a really, really hard schedule. It's a really hard conference. It's a pretty hard division. I don't know where all these teams are going. I just think NFC South, man, it's easy. You win 8 games, you're in the playoffs.
You're right. Are we absolutely sure that those NFC South teams are also going to fall over themselves to pay Derek Carr?
Well, I think New Orleans would.
But
if they could figure it out. If they could figure it out. And I would assume, don't you have to assume Tampa Bay is going to at least explore?
Their cap situation stinks.
Yeah, they're going to cut a bunch of old guys.
Do you not remember when we had Bruce Arians on the show last week and he told us Kyle Trask?
Yeah. That doesn't mean anything. Like Washington said Sam Howell.
We did not question why Bruce Arians was wearing sunglasses during our interview. We were clearly indoors in a convention center. No one else was wearing sunglasses. I don't even think Deion Sanders was wearing sunglasses inside, but Bruce Arians was. Yeah, but we should have called him on that.
We know those teams are going to cut everybody and find money for if they really want their car.
Yeah.
I just think if I'm a quarterback, I want to play indoors. I think this is real, and I want to play in the
Justin Fields
in the easiest division. Yeah, Justin Fields was deadly accurate with his take. If I'm Justin Fields, I'd beg to go to one of those teams. You're a quarterback. Derek Carr could put up huge numbers at any of those places.
But it's just the same reasons why it's appealing to Aaron Rodgers, and we're talking, of course Aaron Rodgers would want to come to the Jets. Of course he would. It's the same reasons for Carr. The top 5 defense, the good receivers. Like, we talk about it with Rodgers. I think the same thing applies. Now, we're seeing in the chat here as we are across the country on CBS Sports Radio. Hello, everybody. We love you. Also, we are streaming live, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. I'm seeing this from Rudy, from Lorenzo, is saying Jimmy G.
Oh, is it? I can't remember. The Jets, one of the teams that likes Jimmy G. There's a lot of Jimmy G-ists out there.
Well, Robert Saleh was the defensive coordinator when Jimmy G was a 49er. Rudy saying he agrees, but Jimmy G, like Lamar Jackson, obviously injury prone, and that's scary. If you're going to sign Jimmy G, you need a really high-end backup. You really need someone who, because Jimmy's going to miss games, you have to basically count on that.
Yeah.
So is that Mike White? I don't know. He's also injury prone.
I would go with Carr over G for that very reason. I call him G. What's up, G?
JG.
I don't really think that Aaron Rodgers would definitely be interested in the Jets over other teams. Do we know that? What's better, the Jets or the Raiders?
We've talked about, does it make sense for Aaron Rodgers to go to the Jets?
It makes a lot of sense for both parties. But the Raiders, same issue, indoors. I don't know. If Aaron Rodgers, I think, might want to go to the Raiders and be in Vegas. It's not that easy. So that's the thing. Your logic makes perfect sense. I just think that Derek Carr is going to wait and try and create. Look at what happened with Deshaun Watson. He got overpaid by 200% because he had teams going against each other. Derek Carr would probably want that as well. I can't see him leaving this weekend from New Jersey with a deal.
Well, that's where Carr finds himself in a good spot, which he has a head start on everybody for, 2 months or a month, basically. Free agency starts in March. So he's got a month heads up. Yet, at the same time, what happens now? Coaches go on vacation? Absolutely not. Coaches go into draft mode now. And that's another thing where at least, agents or teams could try to play a little hardball here. Say, hey, we were interested in Derek, but to be honest, now we're doing our draft homework and, we actually really like insert name. We really like Anthony Richardson as a project. We really love Will Levis as a project. We love Hendon Hook. I don't know. You could say anything and try to BS Derek Carr's people at that time and say, well, now we're not so sure if we want Derek. Now we're thinking maybe we want a rookie.
I don't think that's a dynamic, though. I think it's more, hey, Derek's people are basically, they're taking offers. So they're not going to get slow played. Basically, you're going to have to say, here, I'll give you $40 million a year, and someone else is going to have to say, I'll take 42, right? It's not a matter. Since it's free agency, you're not fooling anybody with draft talk. You're not trying to convince Derek Carr's people of anything. You're just competing against other teams.
No, but if you're like the Panthers or something, right, you could say, hey, maybe we're interested in Derek, but only at this number, and we're perfectly fine going into the draft too.
So Derek's people just say, oh, that's great, and draft your quarterback because somebody else came in at a higher number.
Okay, but you're saying all the money in the world, he shouldn't go to the Jets. Like, he's going to have to make a decision here, and the Jets, I think, are going to try to blow him away. I do, because it's all fun to talk about Rodgers, and it's fun to talk about Lamar, but these are such big what-ifs where you have Carr literally in the building today.
God, I think Jets fans are going to be really depressed if they come away with Derek Carr.
Jets fans are depressed anyway.
Yeah,
this would be the best thing that ever happened to them. Are you crazy? They just had to sit through Zach Wilson this year.
I just think that the Jets have tried many things at quarterback, and it hasn't worked. Yeah, they didn't really sit through Zach Wilson. He was there sometime.
Right. It was a pretty big flash in the pan.
Is anybody picking the Jets to go to the Super Bowl with Derek Carr? Is there a single person who would pick that?
No, but is the bar for the Jets right now Super Bowl? The Jets are just trying to make the playoffs.
Within 3 years.
Okay, maybe within 3 years. The Jets haven't made the playoffs since 2010. They just let's walk before we can run here.
Stu, you know Derek Carr. Is Derek Carr ever leading the New York Jets to the Lombardi Trophy?
No, he's not.
Of course not. He's Derek Carr.
But we're grading on a curve here. How about Stu?
The Jets do not think like that.
Could Derek Carr lead the Jets to the divisional round?
That means he has to win one.
A playoff game on the road in probably cold weather, I'd say no.
Maybe he lucks out and they play in Miami or LA, the Chargers. Maybe.
Good enough for me.